Many creators think this mistake is harmless until their monetization suddenly disappears. Thousands of channels lose revenue every year because they misunderstand how YouTube actually views artificial intelligence. If you are using AI for your scripts, your voiceovers, or your visuals, you are walking a very thin line between being a pioneer and being demonetized. Today, we are cutting through the noise and looking at the official YouTube policy on AI-generated content. We are going to break down exactly what you need to disclose, what you can keep under wraps, and how the monetization review process has changed for creators using these tools. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to protect your channel from strikes and keep your revenue safe. The core of YouTube's stance is a balance between encouraging innovation and maintaining viewer trust. They aren't banning AI. In fact, they're leaning into it with their own tools. But they have introduced a strict, altered or synthetic content policy. This policy exists because YouTube wants viewers to know when what they are seeing or hearing isn't real, especially when it looks like it is. In the YouTube Studio upload flow, you'll now see a specific disclosure requirement. You must check the yes box if your content makes a real person appear to say or do something they didn't do, if it alters footage of a real event or place, or if it generates a realistic-looking scene that didn't actually occur. Think about why YouTube created this. It's about transparency. If a viewer sees a photorealistic video of a world leader or a celebrity, they should know if that person actually said those words. If you fail to disclose this, you aren't just breaking a small rule, you are violating a core community guideline regarding deceptive practices. How does YouTube evaluate this? Their systems are designed to look for meaningfully altered content. If you use AI to create a fantasy world where someone is riding a dragon, that's clearly not real. You don't need to disclose that. But if you use an AI voice that sounds exactly like a human narrator, or if you use AI to swap a face in a way that looks authentic, that is where the disclosure becomes mandatory. One of the most common mistakes I see creators make is thinking that a faceless channel with an AI voice is exempt because they aren't tricking anyone. But the policy is clear: if the voice is synthetic and realistic, you need to label it. Another mistake is over-reliance on the prompt and publish model. If you are just generating a script with AI, putting it through a text-to-speech engine, and adding stock footage, you are likely going to run into the repetitious content while during your monetization review. The consequences of ignoring these rules are getting more severe. If you consistently fail to disclose synthetic content, YouTube can apply a label to your video themselves that you cannot remove. In worst cases, they can remove the content altogether or suspend your participation in the YouTube Partner Program. For many, the first sign of trouble isn't a strike, it's a 90-day monetization suspension because the channel was flagged for inauthentic behavior. To stay compliant, your best practice is to always lean toward transparency. If you aren't sure if a visual is realistic enough to need a label, label it anyway. YouTube has explicitly stated that over-disclosure is not penalized, but under-disclosure is. From a creator's perspective, the biggest misunderstanding is the difference between AI-assisted and AI-generated. AI-assisted content, where you use tools for research, brainstorming, or minor editing like background noise removal, is perfectly fine and usually doesn't need a label. The AI-generated side, where the core value, the script, the voice, or the primary visuals, is machine-made, is what triggers the high-level reviews. When a human reviewer looks at your channel for monetization, they are looking for evidence of effort. They want to see your unique perspective. They want to see that you've added original commentary, educational value, or a unique editing style that a machine couldn't just spit out. If your video feels calculated rather than curated, it's a red flag. The reviewers also look for what we call monetization signals. If your metadata, like your titles and descriptions, feels like a template that has been used 1,000 times, it signals low-effort content. You can reduce your risk significantly by ensuring that every video has a unique narrative arc and that you are layering your visuals. If you use AI-generated images, don't just let them sit on screen. Zoom in, add text overlays, or cut them with real-world examples. Here are your actionable takeaways to future-proof your channel. First, use the altered or synthetic content checkbox in YouTube Studio for any realistic AI elements. Second, always add genuine creative value. This means your own script edits, your own unique structure, and your own voice if possible. Third, avoid sensitive topics like medical advice or current news events if you are using AI, as these categories are under much stricter scrutiny. What you should avoid is the set it and forget it mentality. Automation is a tool, not a replacement for a creator. If you want to protect your monetization long-term, you need to be the editorial heart of your channel. Keep a folder of your compliance stack, your licenses for any AI tools or stock footage you use, just in case you ever need to appeal a decision. YouTube's policies change as the technology evolves, so you should always check the official Creator Insider channel or the YouTube Help Center for the latest updates. But the underlying principle remains the same: transparency and original value. If you're building a channel for the long term, understanding YouTube's policies isn't optional. It's one of the most important skills a creator can develop. By staying transparent with your audience and adding your own unique touch to every video, you aren't just following the rules. You're building a brand that can survive any algorithm or policy shift.